Hello everybody, welcome back to That Fiction Live. Today we're talking about Jade Fire Gold by June C.L. Tan. It's going to be a spoiler-free video. You're not ready to hear about this book. Just imagine the most beautiful, sort of magic-filled story that comes across as its own standalone legend. And we have these two characters who are going on their own separate missions that sort of become interlinked throughout the story, with Anne, who discovers that she has quite a deadly, dangerous power, and she has to hone it throughout the book and learn why so many people want to kill her because of this said power. Then we have Altan, who is hell-bent on revenge. He had his legacy stolen from him when he was a child, and now he's just determined to get it all back. And yes, you guessed it, their paths do cross and chaos ensues. It's such an exciting plot. It's an adventure. You will absolutely adore this book if you like things like Song of Wraiths and Ruin by Rosanna Brown, one of the best myth and legend inspired books out there. We've spoken about it on my channel before. I'll link that review below if you would like to watch that. This story has that same sense of magic that's also believable. Now this plot escalates so much. There are travel montages and you discover the world along with the characters because they're taken so many places that they are not familiar with. They're also new to everything, just like the reader, which is one of my favorite things, because when characters get thrown into new situations, it always just becomes so chaotic. Now Anne is one of my favorite protagonist ever in the whole of literature. June has done such an amazing job at presenting us with a character who's had all these opportunities thrown at her, because at the start of the book she's trying to figure out her life. She has this job that she's struggling to keep hold of, and then she's thrown into a world of magic and political intrigue. And I really loved exploring how she faces each of the decisions. This is something that is such a strong point about this book. And the dialogue on Anne's side I found so hilarious. And I don't think that was the intention per se, because some characters are so consciously funny and sarcastic, but Anne just says these statements sometimes that just make you laugh out loud. There is a scene in the book where she just says, "Women can sleep on floors too." I think you really enjoy her character in that respect because she's so blunt. I think that's also why I was drawn to her at the start. I love both characters, don't get me wrong, it's a dual perspective book, so you have to be invested in both of their stories, but I just found her voice so interesting and it was fun to follow her along. And this is definitely an adventure book. You're constantly looking for things and you're exploring this magical world and how all the players fit into the larger landscape. It's such a joy to read this book, even though it has some really dark elements in it, of course. Now I have to point out the histories and the backstories of the characters, because sometimes I think that books are overpowered by the past and it distracts you from the present day plotline. Here there was such a great balance between telling us stories from the past and how the histories of the characters shaped who they are now, and it didn't come across as info dumping, because sometimes if you're having to tell a huge backstory, you know, there's a very fine balance of it coming across like some kind of essay where you have to read, oh, on day one, then they did this, oh, and then this happened, and you're like, I don't care. Here it was just so brilliantly intertwined that June, round of applause. Altan's backstory is so chaotic and crazy, and it was so much fun to keep discovering more along the way. I love dialogue. I sound like a broken record in every video. I swear I say that dialogue is my favourite part of a book, but here the non-dialogue elements were fantastic and the lines felt so atmospheric, and I love seeing the characters reflecting in their own respective chapters. There's a quote that I made a note of because it was so beautiful, and this was Altan talking, and he says, "All we are doing is keeping each other safe from the ghosts of our past." We have to talk about the twists and puzzles in this book. Have any of you watched Modern Family? That pilot episode where you don't see where it's going and how all these people are connected, and then it's revealed at the end. This whole book is like that. There are so many truth bombs dropped on you where you think, oh wait, didn't we just meet this person? It's like a puzzle being put together where you think, oh okay, so this is how you're friends. And then when you start realizing just how connected everything is, There's an ancient quality to this story. It comes across as its own legend. Now, yes, it is heavily influenced by East Asian mythology, but this feels like you're being told a story from start to finish that's very tangible, and you believe it and you're convinced that this magic is real. The dual perspective just works so well in this book. You're going through both of their sides, right? Because yes, sometimes they work together, sometimes they don't, and you're constantly kind of back and forth whether you should be trusting these people. But because you're seeing both sides, it's almost like a courtroom drama where you think, okay, so Arnie's in the right here. It's not her fault she has this magic. People want to kill her, you know. You feel bad for the girl, but then you go to our turn and you think, oh wait, actually this is so much deeper than you would have initially anticipated. And the ending of this book, I want to fling it across the room. It was just chaos. It was crazy. I don't know what to do with myself, essentially. So if you've read this book, I have to point out Leia's character. I was so drawn to his character. I was just so captivated by how he fits into the bigger picture of this world and all the politics and all the different hierarchies, I would say, because this isn't something I mentioned, but there are these priests within this world who do hold magic of their own. And when you hear Leia's story and how he became involved with the priests and like how everything is going on that side, it's a whole other simultaneous plot line going on in the background. So I wish that we were able to hear from him in his own POV, because that would have been the cherry on top for me in this book. I always get drawn to these warrior types. It's fine. Essentially, this book just ticks all the boxes for me. It has travel montages, it has beautiful ancient magic within it. So those are my thoughts on Jade Fire Gold. Share your thoughts. Have you read the book? Are you going to pick it up? Make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!